Alright guys, so here's one more. I hope you had a good time creating your summer fun slides. But back to the business of the retreat, and you can see here on slide number 5 that Brenda's going to have you working with a partner to create a Google form. So I just need you to know that Google Forms are essentially your ability to ask any question and collect any data back that you might necessarily need to help you make a data-driven decision there in HUSD. So what we'll do again, just like we did with the summer fun slide, is we'll run through a quick crash course here on Google Forms, and we'll kick it over to you guys to see what you knock out while you're over there at the retreat. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to make sure that you do is that you are over on Google and that you are signed in, right? So you can see here that I've navigated to google.com and I'm utilizing my houstonschools.org account. And what you'll want to do is identify these 9 tiles up here in the right-hand corner. My primary friends call it a waffle because it looks a little bit like an Eggo waffle. But what you'll want to do is click that waffle, and you're going to want to find Google Drive. This is the location where you will find all of your online files that are associated with Google. Okay, and in order to create a Google form, what you'll want to do is come over here to the left-hand side and find this red New button. By clicking on the red New button, you will see here that you can make a folder, you can upload different files that you already have, but you'll see that Forms does not appear in this list. So what you'll need to do is come down here to More, and you'll see that Google Forms is the first thing that you can create under More, and you'll go ahead and click Google Forms. So a really good habit to get into when creating any kind of Google document is naming it right away. And to name it, you're going to come up here where it says Untitled Form or Doc or Slideshow or whatever it is, and simply click in there, and you're going to give it a name. So I'm going to call mine HUSD Retreat. Right? And when I click OK, you'll see that not only did it name it there at the top of the doc, but it also named it here within the actual form. You may want to give your participants or people who are going to be taking the form a little description about what this is about, right? So maybe this is a form to help teachers schedule their observation or their walkthrough or their debrief or something to that effect. I'm just simply going to put description in here as a placeholder, and know that you can give your folks, parents, students, whoever's taking this form, a little bit of intel about what it is they're logging into and taking. Okay? Now we're ready to start asking our questions. And because a form, all of the responses land in a spreadsheet on the back end of this thing, what I like to do is ask an identifying question. I like to know, what is your name? Right? And I might even put a convention with it so I can sort this later. Right? So I might do first and last, or last first, however I want that. But here's the important piece. I'm not going to put a bunch of options here for people to choose their name in a multiple choice field. So right here where it says multiple choice, I'm going to hit this drop down and I'm going to change that to a text question. Okay, here you can see that I can ask a multitude of different question types, right? Text, I can give them a little more room in paragraph text. Multiple choice is exactly what it sounds like. Checkboxes, that's kind of unique, and it lets me choose multiple options per response. Choose from a list, that's like a drop down menu. Scale would be like an opinion piece. Grid, and I'll show you this here in a second, is pretty cool for things like walkthroughs or observations or things like that. And then date and time are scheduling options, right? So for this one, again, I'm going to go back to text, and I'm also going to require this question. I'm going to want to make sure that people cannot submit this form without filling that in. If it's an anonymous survey, you probably wouldn't do a name question, and you probably wouldn't require it as well. But if it's information that I really, really need, I'm going to require that question so someone cannot submit this form without including that information. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit done. To add additional questions, I'm going to come right in here and I'm going to add an item, and you see the drop down next to add item will let me indicate what type of item I'd like to add. So again, we talked about text, and I'll show you examples of these here in a second. Paragraph text, multiple choice. All the way over here we can even add images and video. So what I'm going to do is pull up a mocked up example of a form and show you what those things look like on the front side, because a form really has 3 pieces. It has this page that we're working on here to build the form, and it has a second page which is the forward facing form. So if I were to click view live form here, you would see what this form would look like from the perspective of who would be taking this form. Okay, so again, here's the form page that we're building on. Here's the forward-facing form that someone is actually going to fill in. And then on the back end, you can see here that I don't have any responses yet. But on the response page, there will ultimately be a third piece that is a spreadsheet that collects all of these responses. So what I'm going to do now is duck out to a mocked up form that has all of these question types and just walk you through them really quickly so you can see what you're working with as you build your form. So I've opened up a mocked up form, guys, and you can see here there was the naming convention that we asked for. Here is a paragraph text option, right? And what I want to do to show you how these operate is I'm going to go to the live form side, right? And you can see how these work, right? So as I fill it, you can fill in a name. I can put a response in here for my paragraph text. Multiple choice is exactly what it sounds like. I'm able to choose a single option. Check boxes. This is where I can choose multiple items, much like a Common Core style response. This is a drop-down item, right? So you can see just like when you're shopping for shoes or something, you need to select your size. The options will unfold out of that drop-down menu. Scaled items, right? I feel like this is not very good. I feel like this is awesome. So we can get kind of a Likert style rating. We spoke about grid, right? Good for walkthroughs, observations. How did math go? Math was strong. ELA, not so hot, right? So again, I can grid certain responses. And then a date and time question will help me with scheduling. So again, if I need to schedule observations or walkthroughs or something to that effect, this is a great way to do that. You can see here that I've added an image. That could be the picture of a cell. It could be I don't know, damage to a playground or something that you want to gauge people's reaction to. And then again, you can also add video, right? And then when you add a video, you may want to follow that up with a question, a comprehension style question. So again, these are the various types of things you can add to a Google form. This is the forward-facing form, right? And again, this comes from our ability to build it here with this piece. And then just really quickly, the final piece is the responses, right? And you see that I have one mocked up response. I can click view those responses. And then here again is the beauty of a Google form is that all of your responses are time stamped and collected here within a Google spreadsheet. So I hope you guys are having a blast out there. Again, in Google Drive, click New, go to More, Google Forms, and by clicking a Google form, you can start to, again, title it. Don't get in the bad habit of not titling your docs. But again, adding the magic of a form comes from right here under adding an item, and then you can see here the various types of things you can add into your Google form. So I hope you guys are having a blast. See you soon.